This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Everybody. Good.
So Sawyer County did borrow, sorry. Okay. Sheila Young, Sawyer County Housing Authority. So I'm just reporting on the ARPA money that we did get from the county for our building project, our Somerset Acres. We did complete the 2 buildings, 2 duplexes at our Somerset property. The loan came in at quite a bit, or the build came in quite a bit higher than we had anticipated, at $376,000 per building. So we did end up having to get another mortgage to pay for that, and we scraped up another $20,000 of our own, so we contributed over $70,000. But they're done. We had hoped to have the rents at $700, but we ended up having to have them at $900, which is, they're 2 bedrooms. They're beautiful apartments, but 2 bedrooms with a garage. But that is higher than what we had wanted to go, considering this was going to be for workforce housing. But one thing that we found that we were surprised about was our applicants. They were almost all of them were elderly, people that were selling their homes and needed a place to go. That we're trying to get away from lawn maintenance, and they're great tenants, all of them. We've got only 1 family out of the 4, which kind of surprised us. And all of the people are able to afford it on their own. So there's no funding attached with those buildings at Somerset. In 2016, that same building, we had the same builder, same floor plan, everything. It was at $199,000, and then now this time it was $376,000 just in that time span. So that was kind of shocking. But otherwise, they're done. They're good. They're full, and we hope to keep them full. But Andy also had asked about just kind of doing an update on the Housing Authority or different things that we're seeing. And we are still seeing the out-of-town landlords purchasing homes, a lot of them still Airbnb type situations. And we're seeing that more in like the areas where you wouldn't think, luxury lake home or something like that. They're starting to get into the 2nd and 3rd Street areas. So we're still losing our rental units that way. I talked to a landlord not too long ago from Arizona who bought a place on Main Street. He's never seen the building, and he's changing the rent from $700 up to $1,000 for a single room or 1-bedroom apartment. So those are the problems that we're still facing. It's hard to build. Most everything wants you to have 3 or 4 different funding sources. So we're always willing to work with anyone, give our stats to anyone that can come in and build. Looking at that. And for our own apartments, we're seeing more of, we just recently had 4 meth units. And so that really, really hurts our budget. And we do go in and clean, depending on what the level is, if we have to hire that out, but it's, often replacing cabinets and flooring and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing.
Not math. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really disappointing. Almost all of them were tenants that we'd had long-term tenant or like over 5 years. So it was like a progression, with the problems that we were having, and we did evict. In all those cases, they were evictions. So it's not that we're not doing anything, or we're limited with our screening of what we can do, and people going in, we're okay. So, but that does really financially hurt or what we can do. Vacancies, we're starting to see more vacancies or more apartments that are coming available, which is good. And I'm not sure exactly why, because on one hand you're seeing the loss of some units to Airbnb and then other ones that are kind of coming open, but the rents are so high. Our voucher holders have a difficult time finding places. In 2020, our success rates, all the vouchers out there, about 53% of those would find a place. Now it's down to 26%. So we're kind of flooding the area with vouchers, or going through our waiting list quite quickly, trying to get them out there, just so that they could maybe find a place or get to people that are on the list that need assistance and where they're living. And the other thing that I just wanted to mention was that HUD did grant us a waiver to increase our payment standards up to 120% of the area fair market rent rate. So now our one bedroom is at 796. So that's kind of what they're saying rent should be with including the utilities. But we are seeing oftentimes the rent being at 700, 800 for one bedroom plus utilities. So people are still having a difficult time finding things, even though we've increased our budget or our limit up to that high. Any questions?
Well, question, I guess, both, or I don't know, maybe Andy. I mean, it sounds a little bleak. I mean, is this, so this is a subsection of the ongoing housing challenge? And are we unique or similar to other surrounding counties or state nationwide?
We're not unique as far as the shortage and the difficulty in housing, and what Sheila's highlighting is maybe we are unique, I think, in the I don't have the statistic, the county association, if you have your little green book that has all the data from the county association, they have a housing affordability index in there. And I think Sawyer County is based on the economy, I want to say top 5, maybe even 1 or 2 of the least
Affordability?
Yeah,
So it's good.
No.
Oh,
Well, it depends who you are. Like it's like the least affordable.
least affordable. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the housing rental rates have gone up so high. Usually you want to be, the math usually is like 33% of your income, isn't it?
Yeah,
Your
and
rental
we have
rates?
up to 40% a person can pay up to 40%.
And that's because the rental properties are being purchased, and it kind of falls back into one of our strengths, I guess, which is the
Right.
recreational town. So I guess that means that, and if you're not fortunate or part of that vacation community, people move out of Sawyer County.
Yeah, I think you see a lot more of the workforce not living here because it's harder to find a place to live here at the wage. And I think the other dynamic that she mentioned is when like fixed income units are coming up, typically they are for workforce. A lot of times you're seeing elderly move into those because they have a chance to sell their existing house, which is somewhat good depending on who they sell to.
Right.
There's some turnover there.
So why is it that we have more of a shortage than other counties?
You have a higher demand for housing here, for properties. People are coming here, maybe picking up a second home, or and then there has been some influx of people moving to the area as well. So your demand is higher than a lot of rural areas in Wisconsin.
We still, and this is no one's fault, but doesn't seem, it just feels, you hear it all the time and there's nothing, I guess.
It's well, and you hear it come up a little bit. Then you got somebody wanting to come into the meeting. You hear a little bit about the timber streaming house. That market is impacting housing.
The what house?
Tourist streaming houses,
Okay.
the VRBOs.
We have 550 of those.
Yeah, so we have a lot as a percentage of our housing. And I know, talking with my colleagues, we're seeing this and everybody's experiencing it, but it's the market. So should we be doing something to impact the market, or does the market just dictate itself?
Oh, I agree with that. And I think it's great that the recreation, lack of a better term, grows. That's good for business, so to speak. But there's that fine, if there's nobody here to service the, oversimplifying this, the tourism.
Yep.
It's,
And like she said, to build new housing or even develop more properties is expensive right now. And if you plug in the pro forma of what it costs to build versus what people can pay for it, it's tough to do that. Stacey's been wanting to ask.
That's okay. I'm used to waiting for them. No, I just wanted to give you kudos because I go to a lot of meetings for work, and I help with the Melling Comprehensive Plan, and they're watching Sawyer County to see what we're doing because they're really impressed, especially because are you using solar, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So we are being watched by other communities. So kudos to everybody that's working on that.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming today. I wanted to have the committee here an update because I noticed the units are done. Just could you give a quick rundown, like how many units do you operate, like you own and
Sure.
operate, and what's the vacancy rate, and then how many vouchers do you administer?
Our voucher program, we administer 209. We have 5 of those are VASH vouchers, which we are going to give back because we're having a difficult time getting VASH people leased up. or even looking in our area, but otherwise, so it's going to be 204, but those other 5 VASH vouchers won't go back until July, more than likely. For our own units, we've got 71 of our own units. 48 of those are subsidized, meaning that there's a form of rental assistance with them. And then those remaining units are just available to anybody. So we do have a Stone Lake elderly duplex and an elderly duplex in Exland. And they're just not income-based, anything like that. The rents are $650 and all utilities are included, as a washer and dryer. But we are limiting them to be only for elderly. They're very small. We do manage also for Indian Head still their NSP and their Fresh Start homes. And that's 13 units that we're managing for them. For our own apartments, our vacancy rate is quite high. It's at 10% right now. And a large part of that is the supply chain issues. We're replacing cabinets and we end up having to wait. Flooring, all of that, it's, comes into play. And I don't want to sound so down, but unfortunately with our clients too, we're having a more difficult time for people to be able to get leased because of the competition out there. So you have anything in your circuit court, even if it was thrown out, people see that and it kind of is a ding against them. So it makes it harder for people. And our units that we're seeing more of the vacancies is usually Winter, Radisson, Exland, where waiting lists are short. And a lot of that is the transportation issue. So even though we have the Namakagon Transit, which is a help, it's still a problem for those that are out of town. They don't have a reliable car to get back and forth. But it seems like things are getting better as far as the rental market, and we're hoping that people are kind of moving around more. And generally, you don't see that in the fall. Usually, everybody's kind of staying put.
The vouchers, do they have? I mean, you administer them. Do they have to find a place within the county to use those?
If they've been a resident of Sawyer County, when they apply, they can take the voucher. When they get it, they can take it anywhere in the United States that has a voucher program. And one thing we are working with the LCO tribe and hopefully their new apartment building, that they would be able to use our vouchers there. So if they have a client that they approve and if that person happens to have a voucher, so that should help our leasing potential there. And maybe it'll free up more units in the Hayward area too.
But is this basically a Hayward problem? Is it just-
No, it's all over the northern, all of our different housing authorities, we get together and at district meetings and things, and everybody's having the same problem. I think we do have it a little bit more severe because of our tourism area and needing the additional people, to fill these jobs and things. But we used to tell people, well, you can take your voucher and go to Spooner and find something. Well, it's not easy to find anything in Spooner anymore either. Same with Rice Lake. Rice Lake has been having a difficult time too. So Ashland, same thing up there.
Are there opportunities for you to develop additional units? Like, are funding sources out there, but you need the match or?
Yeah, there are sources out there. There's tax credit programs, and a lot of times you need like a developer to put everything together because there's quite a few people involved. And we've tried to get developers interested in our area, but when they know that we want 24 units versus, 200-300 units, they're not very interested. So we've had a couple of them that we've had like bigger discussions with. And then after a little bit of investigating on their end of it, they're not so much interested in us anymore.
Okay.
And our census numbers do get thrown out of whack with all the empty lake homes. So we don't score well on a lot of these tax credit applications and things, but we're very willing and would love if someone would be able to come in and build more units. So anything that we can do to help.
Feasible to look. I mean, can you find builders in Eau Claire and Duluth and Minneapolis? Are they not interested either?
We would have to go out that far for sure.
Okay.
We've tried people in Wausau and down in Madison, and they were the ones kind of that, after looking at it more, just didn't think it would really be feasible. And WIDA has been here as well. We've attended different WIDA sessions and they understand the problem. I know some of you people have been in those same meetings where Spooner is also having the same problem. And it would be great if we could all,
Yeah.
all these small areas get together and
Cooperate.
right and split, if we were all to help out and everybody had different funding sources.
And are you doing that then? Or
No, we're not. Indian Head was talking about putting together a group of people or of different county areas, and that hasn't happened. So
that
we're
makes
hoping.
perfect sense. Why wouldn't we be doing that? What's the objection to that? Or why do you think it's not happening sooner?
I just think no one's heading it up or the time wise to get everybody pulled together. Our housing authorities did that years ago as far as like applying for additional vouchers that would be able to be issued in any one of the northern part of the state here and go without having to do that living in a place for a year before portability. And we did get 25 additional vouchers and they ended up coming all to Sawyer County. We had took them all in because the program didn't really work so well. So, but yeah, we're always willing to partner.
For that consortium effort, how would that happen?
Somebody would just need to take charge, I think, and pull the groups together.
I mean, that's done in every business you can think of, a consortium
Mhm.
type effort. In my business, we do that in energy. We gather public school districts and turn them into one giant wholesale, and we get attraction from everybody. But if they were left on their own,
Mhm.
nobody cares.
Right.
So, well, I hope that can happen.
No. That's the cursor. I know, I see that.
What more can the county do?
I think that's what we're trying to figure out. And when Monica talks about the Development Corporation, they're getting the housing study updated so that we can use the housing. I mean, the housing study was done, I think, in 2017, and it's out of date already. So I think the goal is to get that updated so we have current numbers that can be shared with the developers that might be interested in developing homes on spec or multiple rental units.
And doesn't Dave Armstrong in Washburn, he kind of does,
He's in
is that,
Barron.
was that,
Barron.
He's in Barron.
or Barron,
Yep.
Barron County, sorry.
Yeah, he
What
said
about someone like him leading up a consortium effort? I mean,
he might be able to. I'm not sure who's the lead on that. Dave's had success working one-on-one with developers on
Right.
putting up twin homes and
right, a little
large,
different. But
yeah,
anyway.
large developments.
Can I ask a final question? Just so we can, do you have the land if somebody were to develop, or how do you do that?
We don't. We do have 50,000 from the town of Hayward that we were hoping to purchase land so that we could do a potential build. Stone Lake, well, we do have some property in Stone Lake, but the town has turned that over to us, a Sand Lake. But they want that strictly to be for senior housing. So we have like a 10-year time span to try to come up with something to do there. But otherwise, we do have the 50,000 available to purchase if we can find a place. We've talked with Steve Frenshu, who's a builder, who's done a lot in the area. He seems very willing to work with us too. So. Okay,
Thanks for the update.
sure.
Thanks, Sheila.
I'm sorry. So the University Wisconsin Extension, Lori's not here. Oh, yeah.
Lori's not here, but I said I would talk a little
There
bit
we are.
about 4-H today. I'm Donna Nucky, the Sawyer County 4-H and Positive Youth Development Educator. And our 4-H year begins in September. October is really our year that we do re-enrollment and a push, for families in Sawyer County to participate or to enroll in 4-H and in the projects that we do. So we have some upcoming events I wanted to share. On this Sunday, October 15th at the fairgrounds, we'll have our 4-H project days where families can come that are not a part of 4-H or that are a part of 4-H and participate in different activities that we have there that they can do if they were a part of 4-H. It's just kind of a fun day where families can get together, get a little taste of what 4-H can be for their family. 4-H is a project-based learning educational group. So when you're in kindergarten through second grade, you're part of Clover Buds, which is a led by the club leaders, and we pick the projects that we're going to work on. It may be crafts, it may be animal science, it could be STEM, which is the science, technology, engineering, and math portion, photography. And then when they get into third grade and higher, they get to choose what their passion is or what their spark is by picking out projects that of interest for them. And then they follow along with that project or projects, because many of our families and youth are involved in several projects throughout their life in 4-H. And then the goal is that they continue all of that on after 4-H when they're adults. And making sure that they apply what their skills and knowledge that they learned through 4-H into their adult life. The bonus of having 4-H in Sawyer County is that we do reach out and we work with a larger network. So our area too consists of Barron, Rusk, Washburn, Burnett, and Sawyer. So I work with other educators in 4-H in getting more opportunities. So we have 2 goals that we're working on this year. We're working on our expansion, so access to the opportunities in 4-H, and then also just program quality. So as an educator with UW-Madison, I'm on state teams, and we develop my skill set with my knowledge, my background, and my education. Is working with curriculum development. So I'm very familiar with writing curriculum and doing some research behind it and presenting research-based curriculum for other 4-H educators across the state. And then, of course, nationally, Wisconsin is looked at very highly for our curriculum that we're able to share with other states. So it's kind of exciting. So we're not just stuck here in Sawyer County. We reach out beyond our area, but I'm super excited about the opportunities. I want to tell you that when I started, and this doesn't reflect just my work that I've been doing, we were coming off of COVID, and it was really difficult for families and for the 4-H program because we couldn't meet in person. And a lot of our meetings are in person and hands-on activities, working together and team building. So a lot of it was virtual, which was kind of you understand the broadband problems that we've had. So it was very difficult for families to get engaged. And then the educator that was here prior to me left in July of 2021, and I wasn't hired until February of 2022. So you went almost, quite a few months, 7-8 months without an educator here. So our enrollment in 4-H had declined drastically, and we had 32 youth that were signed up when I was hired, and 12 volunteers. And normally our program was, it had like in the, 100 or so. So this last year worked really hard in expanding access and just getting out there and meeting face-to-face with families and working with organizations. And at the end of the year, which was in August, we had 72 youth and then 12 volunteers. So we doubled our numbers with 4-H this last year. And then so far this year, we have and we are literally just in weeks into our enrollment. We have re-enrollment happening where our youth from the previous year are re-enrolling to participate this year. And then just in that time, though, we've had 4 new families join in a few weeks. And then we have some new volunteers. So our volunteers go through quite a process to become a certified volunteer. They have to take several different trainings, but they choose to either lead a club or they might just pick a project they're interested in, like woodworking. I have somebody that's signing up to be a volunteer with shooting sports. So we're super excited that we're growing not only with our youth, but also with our volunteers, which play a huge important role in a successful 4-H program. I just want to say with 4-H that 4-H youth are 4 times more likely to give back to community, because that's one of the huge components with 4-H. They're 2 times more likely to make healthier choices. And then they're also 2 times more likely to participate in science, technology, engineering, and math programs. you know, when I'm out there in the community, I attend school open houses or whatever community, anytime I can speak. Most people see 4-H because they refer to us as the fair and the animal people, but it is way more than that. Initially, it was started as an agricultural, you know, program 100 years ago, but now it's transitioning more into way more than that and beyond. So we're super excited with what we have to offer. I've enjoyed being in this position because, like I said, I can spread our wings across Sawyer County, but also across the state. And talking about the connections, we are offering a virtual series, Taste of 4-H, with Rusk County, Barron, and Washburn educators, where we choose a track that we're going to teach virtually. So some of the fun things are like clover buds, which are kindergarten through 2nd grade, do pasta skeletons. Myself, I'm teaching survival skills and we're making paracord bracelets. We have thermodynamics of ice cream, and then we have sewing basics. Those are just little snippets of over 1,000 different projects that are available to our youth. But we like to share some of the passions that we ourselves have with our youth. And it's open to everyone. It's not just 4-H. It's open to every family or every youth in the community. The bonus of joining 4-H, though, is that there's no charge or fee to be in 4-H, but there are some opportunities that do have a costing. And the Sawyer County Leaders Board is very generous in providing scholarships or financial offsets for anybody who wants to participate. If you're not in 4-H, you don't qualify for those benefits of being in 4-H. So the other part of my position is positive youth development. So even though I've spent a lot of time talking about 4-H, that's only a snippet of what else I do. Right now I'm working with connections in the community to try and get more youth in a leadership role. And you don't have to be part of 4-H. This is where people see me as the 4-H person, but I'm not necessarily just the 4-H. But there's 2 tracks that I'm working on. It's community health. So I am on a community health team that meets once a month with LCO in Sawyer County and trying to get, right now it's in the early stages because it's a new committee, but we're eventually get youth involved in that process. And then also Heart of the North, which is legislative days, again, works with Rusk County, Barron, Washburn, and Sawyer. And my role in that is to promote youth and find youth to get them involved in the process to speak about issues that are related to rural communities, especially our 4 counties, and talk with legislators down in Madison. So I do training with my co-chair, which is Anna Demir, who's a former educator from UW-Madison, from Washburn. And we work with youth and teaching them how a bill becomes a law, looking at the issues that are pertinent to our area and connecting them with the committees of adults that also attend the Heart of the North Days, legislative days, which is February 1st. So those are what I do for Sawyer County, and I'm always looking for new opportunities. I do have flyers I'll put at the back table if you want to grab some. Share with anybody and everybody that you can that we have these opportunities.
Good, thank you. Any questions?
Quick question. We were talking about the fair earlier.
Sure.
What is your involvement in making a successful fair each year?
Okay, so 4-H are guests at the fair. Although the fair board, I will tell you, has been so supportive of getting youth involved at the fair because they keep saying it's all about the youth. It's all about the youth, right? If 4-H wasn't involved, there wouldn't be a lot of displays at the fair or animals at the fair. However, we work closely together. I don't have any say, like voting rights but I do advise the board or they work with me. I guess we have a good working relationship to help make the fair successful because that's the way that the fair is used to showcase the projects that the youth have been working on all year long. So that's kind of our showcase area. And of course, the fair is very supportive of getting youth involved in making the fair bigger and better every year. So I'm just an advisor, or not even advisor on the board. I just go to the board meetings, but I have no say. We support each other, which makes things bigger and better, hopefully.
Okay, any other questions? You know, the 4-H program is really popular. How many kids are involved in the 4-H program?
Well, this last year we had 74 youth
Okay.
that were involved. So we're trying to get it. And when I was a volunteer, 4-H volunteer, when my kids were of the 4-H age. And I think numbers were a little bit over 100. So that was maybe 7 years ago. So I think we
age
can
group goes from when to when?
you can participate in 4-H from kindergarten through, they say, 13th grade.
Okay.
So age 19, so you can graduate and participate a year after that.
Okay.
And what I'm finding this year is a lot of the youth that were aging out when my children started 4-H are coming back as volunteers, which is super exciting because they're passionate about their experience in 4-H. So they're giving back.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to Hayward Lakes. Jerry.
Good morning, Sherry Beckman. So I have a very quick report. Just wanted to kind of bring to your attention all the importance we have with events. And we have a calendar of events. And so if people have events they want published or they want advertised, that it's important to get a hold of us. We do a lot of our own research. We look at several papers and find out what's going on. But if you guys could tell us directly, that's so much easier for everybody. And then we also do the calendar events for the state of Wisconsin, for Travel Wisconsin. They have a widget that goes anywhere you want it to go that has all the events for the whole state, but you can make that widget just for Sawyer County. And we supply all that information to the state. So then I just gave a handout kind of some of the things that we sponsor locally, because most of our marketing is out of the area, but we do help out with some actual handouts and fulfillment pieces that we give to the tourists. And so I gave you kind of a little list of the things that we pay for that wouldn't be available if we didn't have funding from the county. And then we also sponsor some different publications. We'll buy an ad directing people to ask for a free vacation guide or, contact us for information on trails or events or anything like that. And then we also we actually gave money to some of the local events, like the Berkey, we did live streaming. And then, so if somebody is watching the live streaming of the Berkey race, we had some advertising. So we're hoping to capture people maybe who didn't get to the Berkey, but we're watching it. So that's my quick little report.
Okay.
Any
good.
questions?
Any questions? Yeah.
Okay,
keep going.
thanks.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to Northwest Regional. Sheldon. Hey, Sheldon, you're on. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good to see you all again. Just as Sherry, I'll just keep my remarks relatively brief, but kind of capture some conversation that you had with Sheila related to the housing side. As Andy mentioned at the last meeting, Joy Melton has been hired, started in August, as our new business development specialist, loan fund manager for the revolving loan funds that we have in the office for the region. So one of our future meetings will have her come and present some information related to Sawyer County and just the regional programs that we have on the business entrepreneurial programs. On November 14th, the Planning Commission is assisting all the counties across the region with the updates to the 5-year public transit coordination plans. They are a 5-year document that the Planning Commission has assisted the last 3 5-year cycles on. It really is just a synopsis of the transit services that are available within each county, and then what the goals and objectives are and how you use your 8521 funds, or if you apply for 5311. It's all Federal Transit Administration related dollars. These are programs that, depending on the county and the department, if you're applying for transportation aid, typically 8521 for counties, you have to relate your applications to your plan. We're providing that services to each county at no cost as part of our transportation program. So that's happening on November 14th. We're currently coordinating that with the Namakagon Transit Group. That's who basically has been the coordinator of it for the last 15 years. Our BEAD, or the broadband efforts, will be kicking off again starting in December. We're currently polling our members across the 9 counties and Bad River tribe to come up with a date for a meeting. On December 6th at the Flat Creek Lodge, we'll be holding our semi-annual commissioners meeting. That's open to everybody, but that will be at 9:30 at Flat Creek Lodge. It'll be our semi-annual commission meeting of the Planning Commission. And then to circle back to the housing side, I think most of you know or are aware that the Planning Commission administers the Sawyer County Revolving Loan Fund for housing rehabilitation, and we have for many, many years. That program in 2023, we've had 2 payoffs. Currently, the balance in that revolving loan fund is right around $76,000 that's available for rehabilitation assistance to qualifying individuals. So that's basically 80% or below county median income based on household size. Those funds are 0% interest loans to make necessary rehabilitation to programs or to homes. That's not only owner occupied, but that's also renter occupied, or not renter occupied, but renter landlord homes. So again, the tenant in those cases would have to be considered qualified for the landlord to access those dollars. We did try to work with Sheila and the Sawyer County Housing Authority on some rehabilitation projects. It was kind of like just before pandemic or right after pandemic. But unfortunately, because we were looking at a unit that was 8 or more, Davis-Bacon wage rates came into play. And there was, honestly, we went to bid for the project, but we just never got any contractors to be interested in it, so that didn't move forward. But housing authorities and qualifying applicants are eligible to receive 0% deferred payment loans on their programs. I'll step that back to say that landlords do have to pay back on a monthly rate, amortized over, usually it's 10 years, but we're flexible and we could go a little bit longer or shorter than that. And again, those loans are 0% interest. So in terms of the market rate right now, it's at a good spot. And then lastly, we do administer the revolving loan fund for the regional CDBG housing program. Right now, there's about $997,000 available in that program. Again, that's for the full 10 counties in the region. Again, that's 0% interest. And I know I probably talked about this before to everybody, but it maybe others in the room or online. That's a 0% interest for owner-occupied rehabilitation and for landlords and for public housing authorities across the region. That work includes pretty much everything in your house. Again, take a step back again and say, we're not remodeling your house, but we're making repairs that homeowners haven't been able to do because of deferred maintenance or haven't been able to afford it for that. So we replace septic systems, wells, pretty much anything around the home. That's just, again, a short update. I apologize for not being there today, but I have some things in the office I had to take care of. Any questions?
Thanks. Any questions? Okay, good. Thanks, Sheldon.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Okay, let's move on then to economic development. Who's going to make a
Good morning. Monica Johnson with the Sawyer County Lecouteray Economic Development Corporation. I have a couple of updates. First, I'm excited to announce that we have hired an executive assistant who came on board last week. She is getting up and running. Her name is Heather Wally, and she'll be handling our day-to-day operations at the executive committee's direction. She does work part-time for the Chamber of Commerce, so it is a good fit for the EDC to have her on board. Next, update on the housing study. I know Andy did bring that up. We are looking to have a draft of the updated housing study in November. And I think that, I mean, I guess as far as the housing study goes and related to housing, we did write the letter of interest for the Impact 7 Northwoods Tech Workforce Housing Project months ago, and have connected Luke Burrell, the hospital, and Impact 7, and they are continuing discussions on possibly moving forward on some hospital land. They are still working through those discussions, but there seems to be progress being made. So that would be 30 to 40, 1, 2, and I think 3-bedroom units, if they're able to come to an agreement and get those done. I'm not sure on timing. They are still in discussions that are fairly new and ongoing. We have brought on 2 new board members, or will be voting on bringing on 2 new board members this month. Our meeting is on Thursday. Robin Stryker with Flat Creek and Steve Gershman with Entrepreneur Fund. And then a third, probably early next year, Monica Isham with new Sawyer County Circuit Judge is interested in coming onto our board. I'll be attending the Visions Northwest board meeting on Wednesday. We are also sponsoring the 7th Gen Intertribal Leadership Summit this week. And Andy and I have been collaborating on our annual meeting, the Economic Development Corporation's annual meeting, and incorporating Economic Development 101 that would take place in December. And we are working or in the early discussions with that. And let's see. Next, we are also taking part in Heart of the North legislative days along with Barron, Rusk, and Washburn counties. I have 2 student leaders in my group focused on economic development, and that will be we'll be going to Madison in early February. And I think that is it for me, unless anyone has any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? You ready? Okay, thank you very much. How many board members are there? You're on that committee.
Monica, how many board members are on the corporation board?
We have got 18, or hopefully this week we'll have 20, and I believe we've got 23 seats.
Good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other questions, anybody?
Mr. Chair, just wanted to, I want to bring this up here with the committee. Just, there's ongoing conversations. Like Monica mentioned, they've hired an executive assistant, which is not the executive director. The assistant will help with administrative tasks. So there's been, the corporation's been without a director for 6 months or about. The position's been out there. It's, and I would just say historically, I think that position's been hard to maintain somebody consistently, in part because it's a half-time position, but also I think just, they do a lot of fundraising. So we've had some conversation on how to get some stability there, or how to combine it with another position to make it a full-time. So Monica's working on that in some conversations. There's the possibility of partnering up with LCO on it. The other thing that's been raised is potentially bringing it closer within the county, either as a joint position or at least putting it within the county structure. So I didn't want to bring that up so the board members are aware of that. That might be the conversation we have, or just giving them an office and housing them in the building is another alternative. So there's probably a dozen different ways we could do this, but I think it's all about providing stability. And I wanted to bring it up because I think historically my observation of Sawyer County is it's kind of kept the corporation at arm's length. Like maybe even getting funding for it from the county has been a struggle in the past. But I think really to provide some stability, it needs to have a little more oversight and handholding to make that work.
What are they looking for contributions from the county?
30,000.
The request is $30,000. It's $5,000 more than
Yeah.
what it's been in
There's always
priorities.
some opposition from the board on that. When will it ever become, if it ever will become, self-sustaining?
I would just, I mean, if you want my opinion, like on that, I don't know of any economic development corporation that is self-sustaining. There's always going to be, successful ones always have some stable funding from a county and or city to make it work. Realistically, grant funding doesn't provide you operational dollars, and you generally can't raise enough money from your industry to support it. So.
What do the rest of you think? I guess the board is going to have some objections. They always do.
Well, I think it's it's a trickle effect, because if we don't start putting our money where our values are, I mean, our values are in tourism and economic development. So how do we get that if we don't have a measured value and a measured position? And so I think, I mean, I strongly encourage at least an office in this building, because how does one find, if I'm a new business owner, how do I find that person that's going to help me? Generally, I would go to a government center. So I think having us weigh in on that is highly valued. And we have money now where the county hasn't had money in the past to be able to support these opportunities. So I think while we have the funds, we should support these opportunities.
And I just, to piggyback on and add on to this discussion, I think that as a volunteer board and what we've been able to do with very limited staff, it's when we talk about somebody brought up Dave Armstrong. Dave Armstrong has, I mean, he's got he's full-time, his staff is full-time. He's able to put together these housing projects, the economic development with industry. That's his all day, every day. We've been trying to hire a, part-time contractor with no office, no printer, no computer. I mean, we pay them well, but it's not. I think that's what we're lacking. We're lacking like just the consistency, and we are working on that. We've had people that are interested in it, but then, there are when you look around at other economic development, other EDCs and how they operate, they are mostly funded by the communities they serve. We've been good at raising the matching dollars that we need. We've also shown our worth in helping with the Vibrant Spaces grant. That's putting in quite a bit, in downtown Hayward. We help connect a number of businesses starting out with Northwest Regional Planning and with other lenders like eFund to help get their businesses up and running. I think that there is a lot that we could be doing, and there's a lot that we could be promoting business for. It's just a matter of really having the consistency and understanding that economic development is going to be a priority in Sawyer County. And what we've been able to do, like I said, with just a volunteer board is great. This Northwoods Tech Impact 7 housing project is just one of those things. In addition to some other things that we've been working on, it's just tough to do all as volunteers without a consistent person able, to have an office. We hold a lot of our meetings at Backroads Coffee. We've had one-on-one business consulting going on, consistently out of Backroads Coffee, or maybe Flat Creek or the steakhouse. Wherever we can kind of find some space to do that. So even having the ability to work with Andy on possibly some office space where we could have a professional space where people can come in and visit with SBDC and other business coaches would be great, and it would be appreciated. So I know that we're working on several different things. We haven't decided on one thing just yet, but I think this is it's a good discussion to have, and it's a good discussion for the board to have to determine how important economic development is to Sawyer County, especially with the housing challenges that we're seeing and the like.
So Tom, to break it down, the person that that the economic development would get as a director currently would be offered $48,000, but they have to be responsible for their own taxes. So you're not going to get a high professional, high quality applicant that's only going to do all of this work and maybe make $40,000. So, I mean, I think that's where I'm saying that the county needs to put the emphasis on, you know, do we make this a position? Do we help them further, even putting an office? But then how does that helping get a quality applicant? You know, a lot of other, like the library, I don't know how much they get for a professional, but yeah, there's all these different professional opportunities in our community, but they're not getting the financial support.
But somebody has to come back and say, all right, this is what we need to survive. This is what we need the county to do for us to survive. I mean, money, is that enough? 30,000? I mean, is somebody going to suggest they have office space here, or who does that? Where is that?
That's why I'm kind of giving you the heads up that that's part of the conversation right now.
So you're doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm talking with Monica, trying to look at the alternatives. Where I'm bringing this up is that I guess I'm signaling to you that we're going to come back and ask potentially for office space. Or
The question that's going to come before the county board is, okay, what good does this group do as opposed to the money we put into it? And somebody has to sell that program. Whether Monica can do that, maybe you do it.
Well, I think Monica will do a great job at selling that. You just have to figure out, do we want to make this sustainable? And that's what they're requesting is, how do we make this sustainable if we're not able to get a director?
Yeah, great. Okay, let's move on. We're back to the library. Who's first?
Morning, Ann Larson. I'm the Assistant Director and Program Coordinator at the library. And we came across a really neat thing. Our purchasing librarian, she bought this, and lo and behold, we've got a neat little story in here. Molly's handing it out. It's about a nature trail full of stories, which is our nature trail. So kind of a neat little thing for Hayward to be in the Secret Wisconsin, a guide to the weird, wonderful, and obscure. So a neat little article there, or part of a book. The other thing on the other sheet is a program we just recently had. On September 30th, we had over 60 attend, and it was campfire and fire safety right before Fire Safety Week. Kids had fun learning along the way. They met with the firemen and they toured the fire truck. They helped put out fire, build campfires, get low obstacle course, trying to teach the kids what to do in case of a fire. You crawl down low. And the other one is if they would catch on fire, they stopped, dropped, and rolled. It was kind of fun. It was just kind of like musical chairs, but instead of grabbing a chair, they stopped, dropped, and rolled. And along the way, of course, we told them that, and you always have to pay attention to everything going on. So we had a scavenger hunt along the way. So just neat little things that we have for families to learn as they have fun. So they also did artwork and, of course, snack of s'mores. Other programs that are going on this month are on the cute little bookmark that we have. We had a online trivia this past Tuesday. We had an adult movie on Thursday. We had A Man Called Otto. Today we're having a new story walk book, Take and Make kits. I Spy Halloween. We have a fish tank in the library where they have to find items, and they'll check off a list of items to find and come on up to the front desk and get a sticker. And we have a scavenger hunt for letters, helping them learn along the way their letters and words. Tomorrow night, we've got a Lego club. We're trying out 2 different times, immediately after school and afterwards. And I run that, and every week I give them a challenge. They build according to that challenge. They have to name the challenge, which is interesting because sometimes they don't build to the challenge. If I say build a sea creature, they might build a dog, and they'll think of some title to fit the the challenge and I take a picture of them. This week, we're helping them learn to do binary coding. So they'll code the word how to spell cat in binary code and maybe make a cat or what an other short word item. And on October 21st, we're going to do a spooktacular event, and that's in coordination with this Wisconsin Science Festival. So a lot of our activities will be STEM related. The stuffies will have a sleepover. They'll have there's stuffed animals dropped off, and we'll take pictures of the stuffed animals throughout the library doing different things, reading books, making puzzles, things like that. The other thing, let's see, in October 24th, we have our TNT. That's a tween and teen group. So we're trying to get more teens into the library, and we're happy. We're getting maybe about 10 members this last one, and we had probably 4 new kids that showed up. So that's growing, and that group is always hard to get because they have so many other things going on in school, and for the parents to drive them back into town, but we do have it after school, but to get them, that's always hard. And let's see, the other neat thing is November is going to be Dino-vember. We're going to have all sorts of dinosaur type things going on, including a T-Rex tea. Backroads Coffee is going to help us bring snacks for them. We're going to have, I think, at least 3 huge, those inflatable dinosaurs where someone's in there teaching the kids manners and things like that. And we chose the T-Rex to try to get the boys in there too. Any other questions?
Any questions? No, thank you.
All right.
Very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, my other hat, I'm the public library director for winter. So I have a listing here. I'll hand it out to you after I talk, but we did harvest, I want to tell you, our garden. And the youth were able to taste test some of what was grown in their garden, all of what was grown in their garden. And then the facilitator provides her own vegetables just to get them to expand their taste buds. They created a soup. They were served the soup. Or they ate the soup, and then whatever was left, patrons were able to come in and do a taste test. So the garden is put to bed for the winter, and it's a popular program. So that again is already being set up for next year, with the school 4th graders coming down and planting the garden and planning the theme. So no theme has been planned for this next year. And we've offered some new programming opportunities at the library this year. We've started just last week, we have what we call Kids Club. The after-school program at the school is called the STAR program, and it meets Monday through Thursday. And then in working with them, we have discovered that there is a need for a place for youth to go to on that Fridays when there is no STAR programming. So we started up what we call Kids Club, where we have 2 certified volunteer teachers that come in, help with homework help so youth don't have homework over the weekend. And then we do games and crafts. We try to make it non-electronic so that they are face-to-face socializing with each other, interacting. And this last week was our first time, and it was popular. We had from kindergarten through high school all in one building doing this, and they worked really well together. It was really great to see the dynamics between the groups. We have a Birth to 4K story hour with Hat Lady that we just started and had a good attendance last Friday with that. And again, that's more of a socialization time. We had a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and some 4-year-olds in there. And they interacted really well, and the parents really needed them. These are the 2 and 3-year-olds are ones that don't go to daycare, so they get to see and be around other youth. We have our STAR story hour, and that is in correlation with the after school program on Tuesdays. We are one of the tracks, so rotating youth or youth each week we have a different group come down to the library for interactive story time. And then they will sometimes do, depending on what the theme is, crafts and other hands-on learning opportunities. We had our Pilcrow Foundation. I know I've talked about that before, where we were awarded a Pilcrow Foundation grant. And the books arrived in September, and we got them processed, and we had our open house this last week. Normally you get about 70 new books, whether they're board books, children's books, young adult or juvenile books, juvenile fiction books, and nonfiction. And we were able to display them. But this year we also were included in that some additional math and science books for youth, as well as special interest books, whatever the donors wanted to donate to whoever was awarded the Pilcrow grant. They're very high quality books, and we're excited to have them in our library. And we had the open house last week for everybody to preview them. And then we're working on our improvement projects. I hope the weather works with us on this, but I don't know if you have gone by our library on Main Street, but we're directly next to the Sawyer County Gazette. We've had this huge tree that has been overgrowing on both of our roofs, and there's very little space, but it took up all the space, and it was actually hindering our project for our drainage and sloping work that needed to be done. So we did have that tree removed, and now we're going to be having the drainage and sloping away from the building work being done. We're very fortunate that the contractors in our area are supportive of the library. I can't remember if we're paying for the labor or paying for the materials, but I have a feeling it's the labor because it's only $800. I don't know, but he's donating most of the work and the equipment and materials to do the drainage and sloping away from the building and removing the tree stump. Then we had a placemaking committee because we do have our outdoor space out back, and how we could better utilize that space. We have our garden there, and we've had a picnic table there that was kind of underneath this tree in the shaded area, but now we don't have that. Where the placemaking committee had did some exercises for the space in the back of the library. The garden we know will stay. It may need to be moved, but we're going to put a pergola there and some outdoor seating so that we do get a lot of people that use that outdoor space come and sit and work on their computer or whatever they do at the picnic table area. So that's a project that, of course, won't be completed until next summer. In addition, we're adding landscaping, shrubs, and perennials. So we're working with the Winter Greenhouse. They are always very supportive of the library and our projects, and they're helping design just a nicer space for people to utilize behind the library. And that's all. We do have a Lego club that we just started, and I was talking with Anne, and 4-H, going back to 4-H, we have a Lego project, but no leader. So I talked with her, and I think we're okay with utilizing both of our Lego clubs to meet the needs of those 4-H youth. I just want to say that we do work together. Are there any questions?
Sure. Any questions, guys?
Do you mind if I come and
Thank
hand
you
this
much.
to you so you have a visual?
Okay, let's go on. Motorized trail report. Anybody here for the motorized trail?
Kathy LaRue emailed prior to the meeting and said she had a work issue come up, could not make it. She did send me a report. I'll just rattle it off. ATV season has been very busy with several large groups of ATVers in the area. Just last week, there was a group of 64 machines that came here from Webb Lake and rode for 2 days, staying overnight and dropping a lot of money into our shoulder season economy. All trails are open, but of course, sweat and muddy, but that hasn't stopped riders from coming. Clubs are organizing trail work days now, redoing signs, brushing, and removing leaning trees in preparation for snowmobile season.
Okay, thank you. Then I passed out on a non-motorized report from Ben. Basically, the full Brookie is full. Now only the Quarter-Loped and the open tracks are available. They now are preparing for the next event. Is going to be the Thanksgiving ski clinic. They're preparing their snowmaking equipment, straightening out the lines, and doing trail repair work. So it takes less snow to cover the trail. So it's all that's new from the Brookline. Let's move on then to broadband. Andy, you have an update?
I have no update since last month.
Okay. LCO update, we don't have Brian or Chris here. How about the Historical Society? Yeah. Good morning. Thanks for coming.
Well, it's now that we have moved into our winter hours. We're only open one day a week, Thursdays from 10 to 2, although November and December we will be closed. Give our volunteers some time off during the holidays. Although we are always open by appointment if you call. We also now have our logging sled in the front yard, and we'll be getting a load of logs put on it. So that looks, you can see it from the road plainly. Been a while. We've had it for probably a year, but it's finally out there. We do encourage school groups to come, or other groups. We've had people from Water's Edge and other places and schools, and we do that by appointment. We did have someone come last week from the State Historical Society to meet with our board and talk with us about what we're doing and what they offer and such as those different things. We had a lot of good ideas, and I think we gave her some good ideas. But this is, like I say, our slow time of year. Last year it was not good in the winter. If everybody remembers, we could have held ice skating parties in our parking lot. So we weren't open much in November and December anyway. And the 26th of this month, a Thursday, we'll be having our quarterly meeting at the Vet Center. Our speaker will be, it's at 7 o'clock. Our speaker will be Famous Dave. We expect a large crowd for him. And in January, we're having our meeting probably at the library. But it's a local author who has also written a book called The History of Hayward and Sawyer County. What I've read of it, it's very interesting. It has chapters on like the hideout and who owned it, the different owners, and how they planned the St. Valentine's Day massacre there. And it's quite interesting. We don't have copies of it yet, but we're getting 10 copies to sell. So, and that's it.
Any questions, anyone? Have you had a good summer?
Hmm?
Have you had a good summer there at?
Yes, we did fairly well. You know, we get some good days and some slow days, but yeah, we had a good number of visitors.
Good. Now the sled, like you say, is already on site. How many logs are you going to have on that sled?
Just a reasonable load, not like you see in the picture, you know, where they're stacked high and then they take the picture and unload it. Not like that, just a normal load. And I am not quite sure, somebody's doing it for us, donating the logs and putting them on. So it should look.
You'll chain those logs down because certainly the kids are.
Chains, they'll be chained on. I assume that's the way they did it back in the old days, and it worked. So we'll be doing the same thing.
And I see you rented car space for the Lumberjack Festival. Did you have a good summer there?
Yeah, we did. We had a very good turnout parking cars, and we only charge $3 for the people to park there all day. And we let them come and go for that $3. We give them the use of the restrooms and tour the museum. I even had 4 people sitting in our garage playing cards for 2 or 3 hours. You know, we do whatever it takes to make them happy. We like to kind of promote the area. Okay. And we make some money.
Good.
We made about $600. So
yeah, good.
But we made a lot of friends and had a good time.
Good. That's all that counts. Well, thank you for coming. Keep us informed.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Anything else on future agenda items that we should put on the agenda for next time? How about correspondence? Any report on? Any reason why we shouldn't adjourn? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.